everyone, my name is Linda and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here on this channel, I do videos from cleaning, organizing home to the business and everything in between, as well as our current big project of building and completing our Airbnb. For this video, I'm actually focusing on our pantry. We've now lived in this house now for 8 months, and when we first moved in, my sister came by, we organized the pantry, and it's been great. I can't say it's been bad, but I have found that our pantry has kind of just become a dumping ground. And there is, first off, probably some food in there that we're never gonna use or has gone bad, so we're gonna get rid of it. But I think there's also some baskets that are not quite working the way that we want to. And then things like appliances. Part of me is wondering if maybe there's a better place to put some of the appliances so that the pantry is not so overwhelming, because we literally have so much space everywhere in this house. I just think there is going to be a more organized way to refresh it. Are we making big changes? No. Are we going to go through, take everything out, and make sure that it's got a place that works for it? Yes. Are we going to refill some spice containers? Maybe. If they need it, I guess. That's what we're going to be doing, but it just feels like a mess. I don't know what I'm lacking. I know I went to the pantry the other day for brown sugar and we did not have any. So figuring out what we need, adding it to a grocery list, reorganizing it, cleaning it up, taking everything out, putting everything back in. It's gonna be a great video, so stick around. So this is where the pantry sits currently. So up here is a complete and utter total disaster. This bucket here is supposed to be like jars and stuff, and yet somehow they end up here. Also, this maple syrup container is empty, so we're just gonna... Then we have like this chaos with some plates and napkins. This chaos with the sous vide stuff, which I actually just need to take out. These baskets that are just so overflowing. Flour that shouldn't be here. Containers that should house the flour. It's just feeling really unorganized. And then on top of that, down below here at the bottom, we have like random overflow stuff, which is not overflow stuff. A case of beer. I have no idea what's in here. Random rice shoved in the corner. Like we just want to deal with some of this. So like I said, it's not bad. It just needs a bit of a tidy and a refresh. So first step first on pantry clean out, we're gonna take everything out. I'm gonna do this in batches. So first I'm gonna get the food organized. I'm gonna go through here, figure out like what doesn't need to be in one of these baskets, what can just be thrown out because it is expired or like close to expiring and we've yet to touch it, so I know no one's gonna use it. I'm also gonna see if there are areas where I can kind of downsize some of the containers, different categories that go together. I know our snack bin literally has the tray for the toaster oven, an empty jar, an empty bag of cough drops, so really just an empty bag. There's Tostitos, and I think there are bits to our Dr. Ho electroshock massage thing. So things that just don't need to be in the snack drawer have somehow made their way in there. I also have an Instapot lid in with our onions. I don't know how that stuff came to be there, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna start with anything I know can be put into its like refilled container, like the flour, the oats. We'll see what else I come by. Maybe the rice. So not too many things to refill, which is fine. The next area I'm going to start on is categories that I know I don't want to change. So things like spices and seasonings and baking goods. So let's start with those two. Just gonna make sure everything's fresh, everything is in a container as it should be, and that anything we don't need is just gone. So if you didn't see the original tour of our home pantry makeover, all these containers that I have, I got them at our local Dollarama. These containers, or the variants in sizes, I use all over the house. So we have these in our closet upstairs, and our whole pantry is full of them. These are the only ones I use in order to stay consistent. Then I have different sizes. So because they're bigger, they hold the things that we just have more of, like pasta. We just have a lot of pasta right now. So these two things are spices, seasoning, salt, things like cornstarch, and then the baking goods. So I'm gonna start by taking everything out of these one at a time, going through each item, tossing, replacing, repackaging, whatever I need to do. I don't have the faintest clue what this is. It's flour of some kind. It's not coconut, it's not oat. I really don't know what it is, so that tells me I don't know when I bought it, I don't know how old it is, so I'm gonna just throw it out. Already, I feel like this container is so much better. I was able to put the overflow pack of whole wheat flour into its big vessel container, which is great. Now that's not sitting in there. I got rid of the mystery flour. I pulled out the kosher salt, so we're gonna put it somewhere else. This container can now go back in the pantry. The next one I'm gonna go through is the spices, seasonings, stuff like that. All of our seasoning, spicing stuff, this is just an overflow because we have this beautiful drawer with all of our spices and seasonings and everything lovely. However, some of these, nothing crazy, but I'll see what we have in here. I'll compare it to here to see if we can maybe get rid of some packages. This is real life. Real life is not always pretty with funnels, and I'm making a mess, and that is totally okay because this can be cleaned up when I'm done. So I'd throw that in there. You can make a mess while you're cleaning things up. All right, so I was able to fill a lot from this basket. It's really just in there a lot prettier. I'll throw these back in. These are just like extra labels for like the spice containers. A few things I am getting rid of. I didn't empty anything, but I have a Epicure sweet and sour stir fry as well as a 3 onion dip. The stir fry we actually just were not a really big fan of, and the party where I hosted this was quite some time ago, so we're just gonna let it go. I don't know if it expires, but we're not gonna use it. And then there's also a 3 onion dip. We just don't use this stuff. So we're also gonna let it go because we just don't make a lot of dips. We have nothing to dip with. Anyway, if I need more, I can order more. But at this present time, it doesn't serve us, it's going. So that means that the spice basket is done, so we can throw this one back into the pantry as well. The last basket I want to go through, because this one is more like a definitive on what is actually in this one. That is our pastas, pasta sauces, and grains. So let's start by emptying this one as well. So as anyone who knows us well would know, we don't typically keep a lot of pantry goods in our pantry. And this basket in particular has gotten a little bit out of control. First off, because pasta was on sale, so we bought a little bit. But then Jason's aunt owns a health food store, and she got in these plant-based noodle pouches. So we have a handful of those we've just not used yet. So we are going to prioritize using these in the next couple weeks of meal prep. But then she also got in some other pasta variations that are gluten-free and organic. So these ones are a pumpkin ginger rice noodle. These are a Thai rice noodle. And then I can't remember which of these I opened and put into here, but spaghetti of some variation. So we just happened to come across a lot of pasta, which is why this basket has just kind of gotten a little bit more carried away than it usually does. I do eventually want to pick up a few more cylindrical storage vessel containers for things like pasta because, you know, whether it be right now, we just happen to have a lot of pasta, and these big bulky bags with the twist ties are not practical. So I do want to pick up some cylindrical ones. Just haven't gone around to it. But the pasta will eventually be in those containers when I find myself at the Dollarama. So pasta's all going back in here. I've got some lentils in here as well. Risotto. And then I had couscous, and I've been like, I just don't like couscous. I've tried it. We've tried it a few different ways. Doesn't matter what I do to it, I don't like couscous. So I've been holding on to it because I don't want to waste food, but now I actually look at it and realize it expired in 2020. So I can throw it out now. I want to have a specific basket for canned goods. We don't have a whole lot right now, but I'd always like to have a couple cans of tomato sauce or tomato paste for making homemade pasta. I also always like to carry a can of like chickpeas, black beans, and a couple cans of coconut milk. I don't have any of that on hand at the present moment, but I usually do. It needs to go on the grocery list, and I want to have a basket for that stuff. So let's throw the pasta stuff back in the pantry. So along with the pasta basket, I also threw all of the flours back in there. I've kind of combined what I could of those. It wasn't a whole lot, but in terms of flours, there are a few that we always have on hand. We have a harissa for making corn tortillas, a regular unbleached flour, a whole grain flour. We have a durum flour for making pasta. I'll input that proper spelling here somewhere. And then an almond or coconut flour. I'm not really sure which one it is, but it's a gluten-free flour variation. So I put those in the pantry along with the rice. I also threw the rice in here. We carry a basmati rice and a sushi rice at all times. And then this is where the pantry gets interesting because it's literally a disaster. I don't know what happened. You have random things like the Instapot lid just hanging out here. We have a bag of, oh, that smells so strong and fresh. Literally a bag of fresh garden grown garlic. Cord for this. I have a basket for the like odds and ends for our appliances. So I'm gonna make sure this finds its way home when we get to that part. But like things like a random can of tuna, which could go into and with the other canned goods so that we know that we have one random can of tuna. This is like a really great, we have nothing in the fridge to eat, but random condiments. Well, condiments mix well with canned tuna. Tuna salad, done. Meals. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out everything in the last of these baskets, lay them all out and figure out what I'm keeping, what I'm getting rid of, and how I'm gonna reorganize this. So I've emptied all these containers. There were so many just random empty jars. Good jars. I love keeping jars. Sitting here tripping over a jar lid, but I love keeping jars. I think having jars to put things into is a really easy storage solution because we all have jars, whether it be that we use up a pickle jar, which pickle jars happen to be my favorite. One day I'll spray paint all the lids, but really you guys aren't hanging out in my pantry, so I don't really care. Olive jars, also another really great jar option, but like these are good big jars. These are like $12 jars if you go to buy them. So keep these. They're fantastic for like organizing pantries. Anyway, I have a bunch of them that are in there and not filled. I ran out of a lot of things like chia seeds and coconut flakes and like those mixing add-ins. So those vessels are just empty. I'm gonna make sure that they go through the wash so that when we do restock on those items, they're ready to be filled. A few of the really random things that I did find, I found this tiny little jar of monk fruit sugar. So it's just like a sugar alternative. I'm gonna put this over near the coffee so we can use it up, and then I'll just have like the little jar left over. The mess in the bottom of that one container is the blackstrap molasses. I cleaned it. This is a great opportunity to like clean out the bottom of all the baskets in the pantry, but this is like the container is so dirty. I'm not sure why it's leaking. It might just be a bad lid, but I'm gonna transfer this molasses into a clean jar because it's at, you know, halfway already. We don't need as big of a jar, and I think we just need a more cleanable jar. So we'll do that. And then I also want to find a house or another jar for this brown flaxseed. So let's go in the pantry and see what we can find. So I also like to have a basket for what I call fixings. So this is stuff like nuts and seeds, chia seeds, coconut flakes. I've got some spirulina, honey, peanut butter, jam, almost like it could all go into an oatmeal. So that basket, for whatever reason, kind of got separated, and then it ended up being two baskets. I'm not sure how or why, but I'm gonna now compress that into one basket, and then we'll see if it all fits. And then also because I see a few of the cans here on the counter. I'm also gonna do a cans basket just because there's not a lot to go into there. So we'll get it done at the same time. So all the fixings, peanut butters, jams, seeds, nuts, things that it can go into an oatmeal. This one's done. So the next one is like the canned baskets. So things like tomato sauce, that single can of tuna that inspired lunch. I've got homemade relish, so we'll put that in there. I've also got other random fixings, but that are not like daily use oatmeal, like they don't fit in that category. We have some pearl barley and some pine nuts. These can go in here. And then I am going to add just like our sheets of seaweed because they don't really have categories, so this really kind of falls in like the extra stuff. Still have 2 baskets left, which is awesome. 2 empty baskets. Some of the other baskets that I don't really need to touch, but maybe I can pull some things out of. We have the oils and vinegars. There are a few things I can pull out of here right off the bat that I noticed. This is frying oil. It is used, I believe frying oil can be used a couple times. However, we have a lot of it. We just don't fry that often. We thought we'd save it. We thought we'd be conservative, but we don't need it. So I'm gonna throw these out. I'm gonna throw these out exactly as they are because I don't wanna put this down the drain, and then see if we can't fit the big vegetable oil in this container as well. All right, so I was going through this. We don't obviously use balsamic vinegar very often because I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, I don't know what to think of it. It's really kind of gross. I didn't know vinegar could do this. It's not expired. On the same note, we have some red wine vinegar, our sushi seasoning, which we use a lot. I don't feel bad throwing out that balsamic vinegar because I have a balsamic vinegar glaze, which is what we use more often. Sesame oil, which we're almost out of, and tahini. I'm actually gonna transfer this into a clean basket so I can give this one a wash. I'm gonna put the tahini in with the canned stuff so that I can have the coconut oil and the other oil in here for now. We'll see how I feel about it. I'll put this one right out of the way. This last basket is snacks. So I'm gonna put what little chips we have left. Jason picked up some snacks at Costco, so they'll go in here. We have no snacks. We're not really great at the snack game. This basket here houses onions, the bag of garlic my dad brought over. Like, this is like fresh out of the garden, like real garlic, you know? All right, so the canned stuff I'm gonna put away, the onions I'm gonna put away, the snack drawer I'm gonna put away. I'm gonna throw our oatmeal back away, and then let's see where we sit. I now find myself with a whole unused basket. We've been really on a mission to like use things up, so we've obviously been doing a better job than we realized. There's a space in the back corner where I can put things like the excess oatmeal that doesn't fit in the oatmeal container, extra all-purpose flour, the dog's pet grass. But yeah, I don't really know where the extra basket came from. I'm grateful. This is kind of the point of doing a pantry declutter, is that you kind of figure out where you have more room, figure out where you can condense things, bring things together, be more efficient. I like efficiency. So yeah, I'm gonna shove this in there as well. And then we'll see what we can do about like the appliances and extra stuff. Okay, so the appliances are kind of just something that stick in the pantry, so I don't want to take out too much of what I know is not moving. So things like the toaster oven stays in there. The Mixmaster, it is so heavy, it stays in there. The Instapot and Instapot air fry lid, those are going to stay in there as well. The tray for the toaster oven I'm going to put back. The cord's going to go in excess basket. The lid for the Instapot can go back on, so I'll put those back in there. But any of like the loosey-goosey smaller appliances, I'm going to pull out of here. I've taken out the basket that holds all like the odds and ends to some of our appliances. So this is stuff like the KitchenAid Mixmaster, like whisk, dough hook, stuff like that. I've got power cords for the Instapot because when we use the air fryer piece, we don't need the cord, so it gets in the way. Odds and ends, things like the food processor, the grates and stuff like that. And then I have like an immersion blender. So all of this stuff sits in an extra bin. This big thing of jars has always just kind of been a bit of a eyesore. It's always too full, it holds too much. Again, I like jars, but this basket just isn't working. I think one of the biggest reasons is that I have a lot of these kombucha bottles. I haven't made kombucha in a while. Someday, I'd like to start making more. I don't have a SCOBY, so if you got a SCOBY, you want to send me a SCOBY, that would be great. Then I can start making kombucha again. But I find that these take up so much room in here and leaving no room for the jars because it goes on the top shelf, and when we do dishes, we just throw the jars like up and over into the basket, which is convenient, but it doesn't like, there's no longevity to that if it's also filled with other things. So my intention, fit everything with its lid. Throw all the jars in it. And then I'm just gonna have to find somewhere else to put these kombucha bottles in the meantime. Now what I'm left with is probably the stuff that always makes this pantry look the messiest. It is unfortunately big, bulky, ugly stuff way up top. So it is like very imposing in the pantry. I'm brainstorming, ideas are coming to me. I think I have an idea. This is what came to me, which is ironic because it actually involves putting more stuff in the pantry. But the other day I was looking for reusable cups, like solo cups, and they are located up above the fridge in a very inconvenient spot. I have some of these structured bags. This is actually from Village of the Griesbach. I can put this up top. It is a good, solid, like nondescript bag that's not going to feel too imposing. I can put all these plates and napkins, which is great because we're going to actually need them for the camping trip this weekend. Extra spoons. And then also like the lunch box. Jason uses the lunch box all the time because he brings his lunch when he works. This is like our sous vide machine. It has like gloves, pieces for the wood chipper, which I think this is gonna go into like the extra appliance bin. But we have the sous vide machine, the vessel we use most often for it. I don't wanna mess with this. It fits where it's at. It's not too messy and imposing, so I'm gonna put this right back. But then this thing that just seems to be a little bit more imposing and kind of in the way, I'm gonna see if it will fit on the ground. And then this extremely ugly thing, which I realized just houses like our extra like camping cooler bag, extra grocery bags of different sizes, and then we have our produce bags, which we've literally not used in forever, mostly because we forget, or Jason doesn't have them when he's picking up groceries. But we have this nice picnic bag. I'm gonna put all these in here. We're gonna donate the not so pretty, definitely not necessary Coors Light cooler bag, because it's not nice. But this, being a little bit more pretty, now more compact, I can zip it shut, can go up top. I've been doing some work with making room underneath the sink. So I'm gonna put the cleaners under the sink, the vacuum cleaner bit under the sink, and then I'm gonna fix kind of these baskets so they don't look so messy. Let me put this under the sink, and I think we're done. All right, let's take a little tour of this pantry. So when it comes to the food section, this is what we were left with. So there's the snack drawer, which we've now added some Aussie bits to. Our onions and garlic, all of our flours, our 2 variations of rice, baking supplies, extra seasonings and spices. This is that extra basket that I had, so this is where the overflow rice, oil, oatmeal, stuff like that went. Pastas and grains, our canned goods, jarred goods, oils, vinegars, oatmeal, which the maple syrup can just go right there. This is our fixings, so jam, peanut butter, nuts, seeds, all go in there. So it may not seem like much, but it is so much cleaner. Down below, obviously, like I mentioned, the toaster oven, Instapot fry lid, food processor, other food processor, and like bits and pieces that mostly go with the Mixmaster. We have Jason's blowtorch and sous vide gear. This pot is just down here. It's a much better spot for it. Jason's got some beer. This is some water that we're taking camping with us. Recycling egg cartons and the dog's dry food. But then I think the biggest area is up here. So this bin of jars no longer looks as overwhelming. This is just a 2 drink dispensers. We just have them. This is the disposable paper plates, paper cups, plastic cups, whatever you call them, extra bags, and Jason's sous vide gear. Also, as with anything, clearing the floor of small things just makes for so much more space in here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, you enjoyed this time that we got to spend together. Share your pantry experience with me. Let me know what your pantry looks like right now in the real. Because let's be honest, a pantry is something that we use all the time. And if you're gonna have a pantry, it needs to serve you for real life. If a Pinterest pantry works for you, great. I'm happy for you. It probably looks beautiful. But if you're more like me and baskets is just good enough for that purpose and that's what you have time for, that's also great. But it's about real life. We live in our pantries, whether our pantries are a big walking one like this or just a couple shelves, or the kitchen we came from where it's literally a cupboard drawer and that's all you have. Share your pantry with me. Let me know what your pantry looks like. Let me know what your plans are for your pantry. I definitely want to hear about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.